Okay, then we have the RESTful API. So this is a tool that we can use to configure a system. It is, let's say, not so useful if you want to configure just one system, but if you want to configure many systems, then it becomes interesting. So I'm just giving you the overview of this RESTful API and some example with the TBconfig tool. So it can be used to automate the configuration of the system. Okay, so you can send configuration information to like hundreds of systems, and it can configure all of them at the same time. Okay? So it's very good to integrate with a central management system where then you can push the configuration on many remote devices. The RESTful API uses the JSON format over HTTP. We use JSON because it is readable and it has a recursive notation for storing data, which is the same method as we use for saving our data in the database. So we chose this way to get the data. And the web portal is using HTML over HTTP. So every configuration you can do on the web portal using HTML, well, you can also use a JSON or the RESTful API. So one example of a JSON coding looks like this. So for example, a fixed management host will have a IP address, which VLAN it's using, that's the gateway, that's the IP, the MTU. So each network interfaces can be described this way and can be pushed in the system. So for example, if you want to change the IP address of that particular network interface, you can push the same configuration with a change here, and it will be updated in the system. The RESTful API uses collections and resources. So when you access a particular collection, for example, countries here, you will have multiple resources of the same type. So these collections are information that are static in the system. Okay, so these are defined by telco bridges SBC, and it will not change. Then you have resources, and usually the resource is what you will configure in the system, and it will represent just one element, and it can have other children collections attached to this, but this name will have been decided by you when you configure the system. So you have just a few functions you can do. One is get, one is post, and one is put, and one is delete, right? So you can get resources of a collection. You can get just one resource. You can see here, countries new will show you how is the configuration of one of these resources under this collection. Post will create a new resource. Put will update a new resource. And you have delete of a resource. All right, so these are the only commands you can do. But with this, you can access anything. And what, for example, these paths are what we use in our system. You have configurations, so that's your collection here. And config1 is your resource, or in our case, our configuration. Then you have the network access points and one specific network access point. So this parameter here is defined by the telco bridges SBC, so this will not change, but these values are what we configured in the system, and these will change. You have a sample code to integrate this. You have it on the on our wiki, so you can just search for this HTTP REST API script, and it will show you how to build this in Ruby. Otherwise, you have also the other examples on the wiki. Okay. The TBconfig tool is a implementation of these APIs in a usable tool, which can be used as a command line application. And then you can read and modify the configuration with this tool. It supports 3 different modes, okay? Command line, interactive, or shell. And I will show you briefly this. One thing you can do with the TBconfig tool is read data from the database and yeah, okay. Anyway, read data from the database and drop it into a file. So we can use TBconfig to send a request to the web server to get all the data and store that in a JSON file. So the JSON file here will have one configuration of the system. You can then push this configuration to the same system with a new name or to another system. Okay, so then you can push exactly the same configuration, or you can modify it, modify the JSON file, and push that configuration in the system. Okay. Oh, I can't erase this. Command line mode examples, you will have get a resource. Okay, so for example, tbconfig / configurations, and then you put your configuration name /naps, and you put your nap name, so you will see the value of this resource. If you want to get the full configuration to a JSON file, you will you can do something like this. So tbconfig / configuration / config1. So that's your configuration you want to download, and then you give it a name. Here the name is fullconfig.json, and -r means recursive. Okay. You can restore the full configuration on a new unit. So you can use the -c option here and the file that was downloaded here. And then you can give it a new name on this, the new or the same unit. Okay. And you can modify a resource value going directly and then putting like equal and what information you want to change. So you can read data, you can modify data from all the configuration of the system. Once you have done this, you can activate the new configuration. So for example, here we said the new configuration is config2. So you can say target configuration equals config2. If you need to access the system, which is not by default root and the host 127, then you need to specify those. Okay. The resources. Whoops. If I go to one example here, just just want to see if I can get. Yeah, okay. So if you go, let me just show what I did. Okay, when you go in the configuration of the system, okay, you want to configure one part. That's, for example, a static route here. Okay, so this explains on the wiki, it explains how to set the routes and how to create the information here. And you have one additional item here that is always shown by northbound interface. And if you click on it, you will see what are the paths that are used to reach this parameter. And then it explains also what is the content of these resources. Okay. You see it in text format and you see it in JSON format. So we support two modes, but the JSON format is better in most of the cases. Okay. So here it tells you how you can fill and modify these information. I also add an example here that I did. So if you do TBconfig, here I have to put the username and password of the web interface and the where it is now. It's the local, but that's fine. And then I put /configuration. So if I do this, I will see all the configurations that are on the system. Okay, so this is my VMA3. So if I just look at my VMA3, this one here. If I look at my configurations here, so you see I have 4 configurations, config 1, 2019, 2018, 2020. And if I look here, these are the configurations. Okay, so then if I can go and select, I'm using 2020-02. So if I just look at this, you will see all the configurations that are here. And let's say, for example, I take naps. And I go here in naps. You see I have the five naps which are here. Okay, so each one of them, you can go one by one and modify them, or you can even add a new resource. Okay, and you will see the information that is in this particular network access point. Okay. If you use the interactive mode, the same tool as an interactive mode, that's a good way to find where are the resources. Okay, so how to use the interactive mode is the same command except that you pass no parameters. Okay, and this will open up the interactive mode. And then you can go and select your configurations here by using the arrows, right? And then I can press the right arrow here to choose this one. And then I can go down here to naps. And then I can go here and see the content of this nap. Okay, what is included in this network access point. Okay. So if you don't know where is one resource, you can find it by going here and searching. Let's say if I want to use routes. Okay, so you can see these information here, and you can use them in your RESTful API tool. Okay, one tool that is that I've seen a customer use is Postman. And so with Postman, you can do RESTful API commands and group those commands together to create some good queries. Okay, so yeah, so can we call the RESTful API via the browser? Okay, so we cannot call it from the browser, but the browser here will do the same thing as what I'm doing here in the RESTful API. Okay, so from the web browser, you cannot call the RESTful API, but from any other system, you can do that. The HTTP REST API example is okay. Everything is defined is explained here in the northbound interface information. So you can see get, put, post, delete, and HTTP REST. This is the example here, so you can download the file to show the how it was integrated. The other tool I was talking about is called Postman. Is it starting? Yep, it's coming. I haven't used it in a while though. I don't know if it's gonna do what I want here. Yeah, so you can do things like this, right? I don't know if it's gonna work if I do this. Ah, yeah, I have main route. If I try naps, then I see that. Yeah, so you can see the naps here, 604, 605. Okay, so here you can see you can create like lab units. I have 6 requests here, right? I can use get this, get this, get this, and it's gonna give you the data as a raw or formatted here. The only thing you need to change is in, yeah, okay. So in headers here for Postman, you need to make sure the content type is JSON. Okay, so by default, it's using, I'm guessing, HTML. So now you just have to change the content type to JSON and you will be able to use this tool. Okay. Can you show via Postman example? The port is custom. Oh, the port here, you mean? Yeah, here it's because I'm using a redirect. I'm using a redirect function because I'm working from home and I have access to my lab equipment. Right, so I have, let me show you. So I have my redirects here. 1, 2, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1. So see, it's a redirect to a local IP on the port 12358. Right, but Postman just doesn't matter, right? If you have your local network like this, I could have used this instead, but now I'm just being redirected, so that's why I have this. But it should be 1, 2, 3. Maybe I have it somewhere. 1, 2, 3. Oh, test A4. Yeah, okay, so this, you see, this is when I'm on my local network in the office and I'm using this. Okay, so now if I do this, it's not gonna work because I don't have access to my local network. No response. Okay. So this is a tool that we have customers using, and it's a nice tool, but it can be totally integrated into your element management system instead of having this. Yeah, and there's a lot of documentation on that. So I just wanted to show you what it's used for and a few examples. I had forgotten that William had already documented the Postman application. So it's documented here, how to use it. Change the content type here. And so it is documented. And examples of post commands, delete commands. So which version? Which version? Oh, probably 2.7 or something like that. It's a long time ago. It's probably was implemented probably I'm guessing 7 or 8 years ago.